The following document was never intended for public release. Case file NOA1901DD. Classification: Bishop's investigation. Date of statement: 13th day of March, 1647. Location: Warwickshire. Author: Bishop Edmund Thornhill. Investigation of the Blacksmith's Apprentice. R. Bishop Edmund Thornhill. Do record my investigation of possession. A blacksmith's apprentice named Peter Grant exhibited strange behavior. The local priest called for my assistance in determining the cause. I travelled to the village and examined the young man personally. Peter appeared normal until questioned about his work. When discussing blacksmith craft, another voice emerged. The voice was older and spoke with authority about metalwork. It claimed to be the previous apprentice who had served there. That apprentice had passed in an accident at the forge 10 years prior. Peter had been only a child when this death occurred, yet the voice knew details of the forge and the craft. It described techniques and methods with expert knowledge. The blacksmith confirmed much of what the voice said was accurate. Tools and procedures were identified correctly. The voice even knew where certain items had been stored. These items had been moved before Peter's apprenticeship began. I questioned the voice about its nature and purpose. It claimed it had unfinished work at the forge. It had been learning the craft when the accident took its life. Now it wished to complete that learning through Peter. The blacksmith had noticed Peter's skills improving rapidly. Techniques he had not yet been taught were somehow known. Peter's hands moved with the confidence of an experienced smith, yet he claimed no memory of learning these skills. The voice would emerge during work at the forge. It would guide Peter's hands and correct his mistakes. It spoke of the fire and the metal with deep understanding. Peter's own voice would return when work ceased. He had no awareness of the other voice or its guidance. He only knew that blacksmith work felt natural to him, as if his hands remembered skills his mind did not. I observed Peter working at the forge for several days. The transformation was clear when he began to work. His entire bearing changed to something more experienced. The voice would speak instructions to itself as it worked. The blacksmith treated this presence as a blessing. His apprentice was learning faster than any before. The dead apprentice was completing his training through a new body. But I questioned the righteousness of this arrangement. Peter's own soul might be endangered by this presence. The voice insisted it meant no harm to the boy. It only wished to finish what death had interrupted. Once the apprenticeship was complete, it would depart. Peter could continue the craft with the knowledge gained. I performed prayers of protection over Peter regardless. The voice remained, but seemed bound by certain limits. It could only emerge during work at the forge. Outside those times, Peter was fully himself. I instructed the blacksmith to monitor the situation closely. If the voice attempted to expand its control, I was to be summoned. Peter continues his apprenticeship under this unusual arrangement. 2 smiths sharing one body to complete one training. Bishop Edmund Thornhill, Warwickshire, 13th day of March, 1647. Archivist's note: Dr. Nathaniel Ashcroft. Parish records confirm fatal forge accident in 1637. Peter Grant's later work showed exceptional craftsmanship. Whether possession constituted benevolent mentorship or spiritual violation depends on theological perspective. Grant's own writings make no mention of dual consciousness. End of file. Case closed to public record. The original document remains sealed within the vaults of the British Museum. The NOA archive remains committed to documenting phenomena that defy conventional understanding. These cases are submitted for academic review and further investigation. Further access requires written authorization or curiosity strong enough to ignore the warnings. Until next time, these are the National Occult Archives.